and welcome back to another book tasting. Today, we have two more books that we'll be tasting. One is Squirrel in the House, and this is a delightful story about a little squirrel right here who likes to cause trouble, though he doesn't think he's causing trouble. This whole story is told by the squirrel, and it's hilarious. He thinks he is the most smartest squirrel there, and that the dog is one of his friends. He has lots of conversations with the dog, he talks about the people, and he just enjoys life. And this book follows his day on a very festive holiday that the people are celebrating. But along the way, lots of mayhem happens. And something serious happens to one of the littlest humans. So let's go ahead and watch the book trailer, and then come back to me, and we'll read the first chapter.
Twitch is a squirrel. I'm a very well-educated squirrel. One snowy day, Twitch decides to take the dog's invitation to come inside up. Whee! He slides down the special squirrel entryway. Eats the food they clearly set out for him. Chews some holes in the curtain so the people can see out. And even hides some food around the house for later. But when Cuddles spots him and mayhem erupts, the smallest of the humans gets the blame and runs away. Twitch tries to get him to go back in, but when the boy slips in the snow, he must go back and ask Cuddles the dog for help. Squirrel in the House. Check it out today.
Let's go ahead and get tasting on Chapter 1, Twitch, the Schoolyard Squirrel. And there's a picture of Twitch. The dog who lives next door to the yard where I live tells me that people call dogs man's best friend. Well, actually, the dog doesn't so much tell me this as he yells it. Usually, while he's chasing me, often the dog gets so angry when he sees me that he tries to catch me. I don't know why he gets angry. I guess some dogs are just highly excitable that way. But when he runs after me, he can only go so far. Then his leash stops him. I try to point things out to the dog, purely for educational purposes. I live in the schoolyard, so I am a very well-educated squirrel. I say, man's best friend, huh? You're tied to a tree. You did notice that, didn't you? My friends don't tie me to trees. Time and again, the dog gets so angry about the life lesson I've tried to give that he forgets about his leash. He lunges, he runs out of leash, he bounces back. Very calmly, not to tease him, but only to explain the way things are, I say to the dog, I think it's squirrels who are man's best friend. That's why the man who lives here ties you up, so you can't bother me. The dog is not very smart. He does not appreciate my trying to educate him. Sometimes the dog gets so angry he forgets words. He barks the bark that is just noise. Bark, bark, bark. I never forget words, and I never bark. Still, the man who is not the dog's best friend is not very smart either. He doesn't realize that he doesn't have to tie up the dog to keep him from catching me. I can always climb a tree to get out of the dog's reach. From the tree, I can drop walnuts on the dog's head. Purely for educational purposes, of course. And that's the end of Chapter 1. And here's a picture of Twitch and the dog. Now, I will say that the squirrel eventually makes his way inside because he thinks that the dog invites him in. And he's joining in on all the festivities. Well, he thinks he's joining in. But in the people's eyes and the dog's eyes, he's actually causing some trouble in the house. And as you read the story, you will fall out laughing as the squirrel tells his side of the story of his day and all the commotion or the games that he thinks he's playing. Now, eventually, some serious stuff happens, like the squirrel needs to go home and take a nap because it's just way too noisy in the house. And as he does this, he sees that the littlest of the people leaves no jacket, no hat, no gloves in the snow. And you will find out what happens to the littlest of the boys and if Twitch saves the day. Now, we're closed all this week, unfortunately, so you can't come to the library and check out Squirrel in the House. But you can go online and reserve it for when we do open, and then you can come in and pick it up. Or you can go down to your school library and ask your librarian for Squirrel in the House, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to give it to you to read. All right, up next is Judy, Moody, and Friends, Judy, Moody, Tooth Fairy. As you can see, I don't have a book, because guess what? It's an ebook. I figured what a great time to go ahead and show you guys how to pull up an ebook and how to read it, because you can't come to the library to pick up a book. So an ebook is the next best thing. So let's go ahead and get our computers out, and I'll show you how it's done. Now that I'm on the library's website, I'm going to go ahead to this box right here and click in it, and we're going to go ahead and type in Judy, Moody, and Friends. That's the book that we're looking for, and we can either hit enter or we can click on the box that says search. I just went ahead and clicked on the box, and we're going to kind of scroll down, and it's actually the third one, and as you can see, it says ebook. So we're going to click right here, access here, and that'll bring us up to the live library. And then it asks us if we want to borrow it or read a sample. And reading a sample just gives you a couple pages to read and to look at any pictures if there are, just, giving you a taste to see if that's what you want to check out. So we're actually going to hit borrow, and it's going to ask you to sign in. Now right here, you'll click on your library, which is Lindenhurst Memorial. And then here, you're going to put in your card number. So it's a big, long number underneath that barcode. So just go ahead and type it in and then put in your password. If you do not have a password, that's okay. Just click on password help and it'll help you set it up. Super easy. You put in your card number and then it sends an email to you or to your parents, and then you can sign up for your password. Really quick. Took me about 2 minutes to do it. So once you get in all your information, you'll sign in and you'll come back, and this little pop-up will come up and it'll ask you if you want to borrow or if you want to cancel it. You get 14 days or you can switch it around. Now, and then you just click on borrow. And now you have it. It tells you how long you have it, and it tells you how many more books you can check out. And you can either read it on your Kindle if you have one, or you can read it now in your browser. So we're going to click Read Now in Browser. And just waiting for it to load up. And there is my book, Judy, Moody, and Friends. Judy, Moody, Tooth Fairy. And you can see it's by Megan McDonald and illustrated by Erwin Madrid. And these are beautiful illustrations. Now for you to turn the page, you just have to click, and it turns it for you. Just kind of click. And look, it has 3 chapters, which is fantastic. Super quick, super easy. So let's go ahead and move to the first chapter and get started on reading, just to give us a taste of what this book is all about. Chapter 1, Uthte Airyfay. Recess! Judy Moody kicked the ball to Rocky. Rocky kicked the ball to Frank Pearl. Frank kicked the ball to Amy Namey. Jessica Finch ran into the circle and gave a wild kick. Yipes stripes! The ball went flying through the air, hit a trash can, and rolled. Oh no! Judy covered her eyes. She peeked through her fingers. The ball rolled right over to a bunch of big kids.
Fifth graders. Jessica looked at Judy. Don't look at me, said Judy. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it, said Rocky and Frank at the same time. Me neither, said Amy. Oh! Jessica Finch took 1 baby step, 2 jumping jack steps, and 3 more baby steps. No giant steps. What's she doing? Frank asked. She's stalling, said Amy. She's afraid of the big kids, said Judy. Me too, said Frank. Me 3, said Rocky. When Jessica came back, her face was so pale that her freckles stood out like chocolate chips in a cookie. Did you see a scary ghost or something? Judy asked. Didn't see. Heard, said Jessica. You heard a ghost? Rocky asked. Did the ghost say boo? Frank asked. Jessica shook her head and whispered, No, but I have to tell you something. Something I heard. Something bad. Everybody leaned in closer. There's no such thing as the Uthte Erife, she whispered in pig Latin. What? There's no such thing as the Tooth Fairy? Judy said. Who says? Asked Frank. Jessica pointed across the playground. A 5th grader, she croaked. Maybe you heard wrong, said Amy. Maybe they didn't say Tooth Fairy, said Judy. Maybe they said Bigfoot is hairy, or Mr. Todd is getting married. Jessica crossed her arms. I know what I heard. But everybody knows there's a Tooth Fairy, said Amy Namey. She's a teeny tiny Tinkerbell who wears glasses, flies around on butterfly wings, and sprinkles fairy dust like glitter wherever she goes. And she has braces, Judy added. Shiny, sparkly braces. The Tooth Fairy has to have perfect teeth. She carries a wand made of silver dental floss, said Amy, and she's not afraid of the dentist. Her real name is Flossom Jetson, said Judy. Flossie for short. And when her wings get tired, she rides in a spaceship. No way, said Rocky. Everybody knows the Tooth Fairy is a dude. He looks like a pirate and has an eye patch and flies with a cape. And he carries a surfboard, Frank added. The Tooth Fairy is a superhero, like the captain of underwear. I know, because I just lost a tooth a few days ago. He opened his mouth wide and showed them the gaping hole. So we're going to go ahead and stop right there. And anytime that you need to stop or take a break from reading your ebook, you're just going to go ahead and move your pointer and click on the middle of the book, and it brings up this little screen here for you. And you have all these little tools. And right here is your bookmark. You're going to click on your bookmark, and it holds your spot for the next time that you come. And you can actually see it right there. And you're done.
Judy Moody is such a fun story, and it's so relatable because my daughter actually just lost a tooth about 2 days ago, and she put it right in here in her little Tooth Fairy pillow. And it's got a little pocket in the back so she can put her tooth in there, and the Tooth Fairy can come, find it so easily, and then slip some money inside. Do you guys have somewhere special where you put your tooth? That's awesome. When I was a kid, I used to just slide it underneath my pillow and hope for the best for that Tooth Fairy. And every time I woke up, I always had a pile of coins. Such a special time. And I'm so glad that we got to share this book together because it's something that you guys are going through. And it's something that I can relate to, and we can share moments together with it. And I just love it so much. And Judy Moody is such a great character. She has so much fun with her friends, and she has such a great imagination that this book turns out to be the fun thing to do.
What would you do if you heard the Tooth Fairy wasn't real? Luckily, Judy Moody is on the case. In order to find out the truth, Judy enlists the help of her little brother. Time to get that tooth out. She tries to scare it out, make him sneeze, and eat crunchy food. It's a hanger-oner. Finally, it pops out. Operation Tooth Fairy. Judy Moody, Tooth Fairy. Check it out.
Happy reading. Bye.